Well, crud, I didn't even manage to finish my bagel. Greetings, everyone. How you doing? Good morning to all of you. It's not really all that good for me. Woke up bleary-eyed and swollen and in a weird way. I don't know what to say. Oh, lordy, bagel ASMR. What are you...
Ooh la la.
Cooler Man just gifted a tier 1 sub to Professor Futon Triangle. 107 gift subs in the channel. Thank you so much for doing that, Cooler. It is good to know that I'm worth both your time and your money. Great to have you along for the ride. And, Futon, enjoy, yeah? I'm going to finish this before we get into the game, okay? Extra happy? What's wrong? Is something the matter? That look on your face, Extra. Also, best of luck to your mother, Triangle. Whoa. Lying. Raiding party? What on earth? What on earth, Lying? How do you have a raiding party at this hour? You don't normally stream at this hour. Ugh. Crud in my eye. Woo. I don't normally, but we just started up Arcane Isles. Ah, I see, I see. Wondrous modded skyblock. God, I gotta clip these. Too damn long. So how was your weekend, everybody? We're just gonna sit here and chat a little bit while I finish my breakfast and everything. You get to watch me lovingly chew a bagel. I got butt slaps. Holy moly. What? No one slapped my hiney in a long time now. Thank you so much, Anonymous. On a 1 to 10 salty scale, how salty does a scam phone call make you?
Ooh la la.
Oh my word, another gifted sub. What on earth is going on today? Okay. Okay, I'll qualify the scam phone call by saying that if I end up picking it up, I am automatically an 8. Like, that's a floor for me. I do not go lower. Like, 1 being not at all, 10 being incredibly
Ooh la
salty.
la.
Oh my word. 8. Thank you for another gift subscription there. Holy moly. 1 being not at all, 10 being insanely salty. I am at a floor of 8 if I've actually picked the phone up for some absurd reason. Like, I don't know what to say. But yeah. If I don't pick it up, if I don't pick the phone up at all, then in that case, Um, they're only like a 3 because I have to like flip. I'm just like, oh, what's going on? And oh, okay, just flip it back over, put it down, because it's obviously a scam call. My phone is screening for it and everything, etc. So, Cooler Man Nacho gifted a tier 1 sub to Extra Happy and Chainsy. To the both of you, enjoy the subscription to Cooler. Thank you so much. It's good to know that I'm worth both your time and your money. Great to have you along for the ride. Thank you so much for gifting those subscriptions to others in the channel. And enjoy yourself while you are here. I bought one of those wooden mannequins artists use for posing references, but they are sadly not articulate enough to pose to doing it doggy style. Yeah, that is a problem, Futon. That is a real serious problem. You should look into that. You should totally look into that. Don't make me donate $100 to you. I mean, whatever. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. There are already people without what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Strife is based instead of kink shaming. He resonates with my plight. I mean, let's get something straight. There are all sorts of positions you can draw filthy stuff. Like so many filthy positions that you can draw people in. And let's face it, like the running joke of like it doesn't matter what type of art you do, you turn into a furry porn artist no matter what. That's a running joke for a freaking reason. It's because people like filth. And there's always going to be a market for it as long as our society of humans exists. So, you know, if you got a problem with those posing models not being able to articulate into very particular positions between each other, hey, that's just the way that it be, and it's unfortunate, but God, what are you supposed to do? Oh, I'm not an artist. I just wanted the mannequins to do it for eternity. Well, now you're just a filthy pervert. So, got to draw that furry porn for that sweet commish, though. Yeah, exactly. Cooler, you just redeemed Say S Word. Your S word for today is submission. Because we're doing kinky talk. Submission seems a decent S word. Wow, there are much better S words that have popped up in chat. Oh, my word. There are already people without underwear on. So, speaking of which, like this one website that I have spent money on in the past, like they're a garment website, okay, specifically undergarment, and I don't know why, but suddenly they've like I never get emails from them. You know, I never get their freaking advertisements in my inbox or anything until like 3 weeks before 2 or 3 weeks before Valentine's Day. I just started to get emails from them very frequently, and they won't stop. If you're not wearing undies, you deserve extra channel point. Wait, what's this? Okay, no, my story. So, like, I'm like, they just will not stop sending their advertisements to me now, and I'm just like, oh my god, like, why are you suddenly advertising me out of the blue? Everything that they sell is flashy as hell, and it's like, it's kind of nice. I kind of want that, but I'm just like, why are you suddenly now sending me all of these adverts? I'm so confused. The last time I shopped with you guys was like a year ago. Does something like trigger off after a year of inactivity, and they're like, oh, this one email address hasn't like ordered from us? How about the S word of salty? I mean, if you want salty, that works fine. That works perfectly fine as well. The best I could do is make it dab Strife. Stanley would have also worked. God, you're right. So many S words would have worked. If you're not wearing undies, you deserve extra channel points. The only clothes I want are booty shorts with darkest dungeon quotes printed on the butt. I mean, I have actually gotten so used to wearing extremely small shorts to bed. Like I have a collection of small of shorts. Like, and by modern standards they would be qualified as short shorts, especially for men. But so I've got like 5 different pairs of shorts. And one of them, I pulled them out of the drawer and I put them on. And I realized in short order, it's like, oh, it's been a while since I've worn these. I forgot. I have to like roll down the waistband because it comes up too high to be comfortable for me. So like I'm making them even more skimpy, you know? I saw a tweet about them, so I'll post it in the Discord later. Oh my word. Darkest dungeon quotes on booty shorts. Perfect. I've gotten a fair number of booty shorts off of from chat over the years. I have like a beige or what you might call flesh tone colored pair, like that has side stripes. I have what else do I have? Oh, I have like red and black shiny ones. They're like Harley Quinn style short shorts. Strife is the kid from Pokemon. Shorts are comfy and easy to wear. Yeah. I've got other shorts that I'll wear, you know, on the regular. So I don't wear pants at all. I didn't wear pants at all this winter. I have 2,820 hours. That's 117 and a half days in Stardew Valley. Oh, my word. I'm confused about those two details being related in any way. But cool. Flesh tone just gives me body horror vibes. Well, the funny thing is that like I'm wearing these shorts and they are specifically designed to like really hug the backside. And you know, I'm doing squats at the end of the stream because I think I got them this last summer. So I'm doing squats at the end of the stream and someone steps in. No, it must have been squats in the middle of the stream. Somebody steps into the stream and they're like, they have a they say that they have a mini panic because they thought that I was like doing squats naked because the flesh tone was so accurate for me. So, oh man. Winter is your favorite season in Stardew Valley. Ah, okay, I see what you mean. I don't think I have a favorite season in that game. It's been a while since I played it too. I think my dog is trying to eat me. She hasn't stopped licking my hand for the past 3 minutes. That, I mean, are you certain you don't have, like, barbecue sauce on your hand? Maybe you've already been marinated. All right, what do you say, guys, to us actually starting the game? It's running me through, like, I started it to run it through setup and change the resolution and stuff, but I was like, okay, It's 11... Oops. 21. Continue playing a game on Twitch? Don't be silly. If the doggo doesn't stop licking you, that means the doggo loves your taste as a human. Oh no. No, I got up a few minutes ago. Hard to get barbecue sauce on it so quickly. Strife hot tub stream win. Oh my word. Okay, so it's 11:22. Confirm that. Okay. Video. Okay, I'm gonna just switch it to this for a moment here. There we go. Okay. So, I have played the original Stanley Parable. In fact, I played the original Stanley Parable, which was a mod for Half-Life 2. It was a mod for Half-Life 2 from long, long ago. All right, I got a proper resolution going now. So, I played the original way back in the day, and then I played the full release of the Stanley Parable, and I think that was actually the first video I did after I joined the Yogscast. So that gives you an idea of how long ago it was. I, like so many other people, have received the the achievement for not starting the original up in like 7 years. There is an achievement for not starting the game up for 7 years. You have to start the game, play it, and then not play it again for 7 years to get the achievement. So yeah, there you go. We all know your opinion on scam phone calls. What's your opinion on scam emails? Man, they can just go toss them into a fire. I played it once and then set out to get the Go Outside achievement. I subsequently failed because I never really left the house. Okay, so you are playing the Stanley Parable Altered Adult. I like how it has this like infinitely shrinking picture with the like this screen is on the monitor, and then the monitor has the exact just man. Okay, begin game. The end is never.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
I hate Mondays.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
That is some very non-existent outside. Man, this place is soulless.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna follow the instructions here.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Let it ball up and how to solve a dispute with a coworker. Let it ball up inside you. Take it. Oh my god. Using slides to assure employees that everything is okay. Make sure your slide has a slick blue graphic on the header and throw some bevel on all the text. Oh my god. Everyone is unique. You most of all. God. What else do we have? I'm gonna watch all of these. Number of slides on this slide. Charts and slides. Okay. This is a very bad pie chart. Rate at which chats on the same slide depict the same information. Charts on the same slide depict the same information. Rate of increase in graphs per slide. Please, no more charts. Oh my god. The boss appreciation minute. On your boss's appreciation minute worksheet, circle the top 20 things you love most about your boss, fill out the triplicate, and return to your boss's. Solving interpersonal conflict. If you ever find yourself in a conflict with another diligent employee like yourself, but more inclined towards conflict unless you're the kind of person who initiate. Oh my god. What is going on? What are your dreams for the future? Tips for not getting fired. Talk less. Do unbelievably amazing work all the time, every day, with no exception of expectation of promotion or recognition. Don't get fired. Solve a dispute with a coworker. Let it ball up inside you. Take it out passive aggressively on other coworkers. Resent coworkers for not supporting you more. Man. Okay. The stock market is somewhere here. Colored in segments. Stripes. Requires more secondary research. What is hot? Target demographic. Teenagers. What do people want? Things. Happiness. Violent James. You are fired. Money. More money. Things, but with money to buy. Things, but with money to buy more things? Graphs. Graphs about things and money. We have our new product. Okay. Synergize core value experience. Shift global market. And monetize free to play. Oh god, monetize free to play.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ooh, Oh, this is ritzy. Money in the morning, money in the evening, money for breakfast, money crisp. Extreme bathrooms. Oh my god. I like the sound whenever I hit the interaction button. You can't jump. Get your first achievement. Okay, cool. What is this? What do we got here? The beige pages. Oh my word. I haven't seen a set of those in ages.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
It's okay. Everything's fine.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Oh my. What's going on? Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Okay. I'll just keep following it.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
I can't even sprint. Oh no. Employee Observation Protocol.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Imagine how many HDMI cables this place needs. Oh my word.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Freaking dark as hell in here. I can't see shit. Console disabled. Mind control idle awaiting input. Okay. All right.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Oh, I think I just killed myself inadvertently.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Wait a minute.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Okay. Achievement unlocked. Beat the game. All right, cool. We're done. Let's move on to something else, right? All right.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Gonna be honest, this lounge, it sucks.
really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Paintings? I don't know that these are paintings, man. I think they're mostly just photographs. I think the company's actually gonna...
Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Excuse me? Sir? This is an unacceptable statement to say about me.
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue. But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
All right, let's move on.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Penalty of misuse of cargo lift, $1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift, $5,000. Do not jump from the cargo lift while it is in motion. Will cause death.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Who? Something says jump off of it. Yeah, I could, but I chose not to. Ooh!
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone. As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Wait, what?
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
All right, what have we got going here? Wait a minute.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
I'm super... All of a sudden, safety has been reinforced everywhere. Gotta try every door.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Shit's getting really fucked. Oh my god, I'm loving this. I'm loving this so much. I haven't played a narrative game in a while.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Uh-oh. That didn't help. Not by much anyway.
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
All right, fine. We'll go through the left one this time.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
What the...
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code. Stanley spoke the code. Nightshark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Nightshark 115?
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Sorry, pal. Doing my best here. Let's settings, audio. Yep, there's no option here for no option for a microphone.
Fine, you're not going to do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You... When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me?
Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This
Unity.
is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there?
Oh, dear.
Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
Okay. They had to remake the entire thing in Unity for the Deluxe edition. Really? I had no idea.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ooh!
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
New content!
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
I thought everything up to this point was a little bit familiar.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
I can jump? Wait, can I? I can't jump here. But I can jump here. Okay. Cool. Wasn't the original Stanley Parable made in the Source engine? I know the mod was. Oh, okay. I can't jump anymore.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Oh, my word. It's taken me way too long to get to this. I bought this back in November. All right, what do we got here? What is this?
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
I...
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Excuse. Oh, excuse.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Office chairs and cardboard boxes and copiers and whatnot inside of like an old ruin.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
The Stanley Parable Collector's Edition. 2014 Independent Game Festival. Audience Award, The Stanley Parable. A BAFTA awarded to Stanley Parable. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is a... The Last of Us. Oh god. That's right. It was about the same time that The Last of Us came out. God. Holy crap, Windows XP. Windows XP. Oh, look at Firefox. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm getting like whiplash because they got the technology surrounding it of the time. So, oh my fucking Christ. I forget. Smile because it happened. A trip down memory lane. Bits of music from the Stanley Parable. $1. Go outside. Don't play for 5 years. Unachievable. It is impossible to get this achievement. Nominee, British Academy Award. The same thing several times over. New video game releasing today in the New York Times. Creators surprisingly down to earth. Colleges show uneven effort to enroll poor. Business leaders pushing election of council allies. 50% off designer hat. LA Times, Stanley Parable deals tough choices. In loving memory of little Stanley. Aw.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Ah, Portal. Oh, man. The tasteful nostalgic. It was good. Minecraft? Holy moly. Let's begin again. The Stanley Parable. The Two Doors. Person of the... Oh, the buttons. The level editor. Oh my god. Knowing your city. This is something else. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. Alright, I'm back. Turns out there wasn't enough coffee for 3 mugs today, just 2. But then again, I'm like using an extra large mug, so make the same amount of coffee as I always do, but instead of having 3 mugs, I get only 2 this time. Okay, so let us continue. The original remake. The Stanley Parable. People play games because of what they can do inside them, and your game is very good at letting them know they can't do anything. Literally anything.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Repeatable carpet textures, ready for your game project. 6 royalty-free designs. The Serious Room, 2013.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Steam reviews. The Serious Room is where you go if you cheat. Oh, so that's how you get with the jump. That's how you get in there. Okay.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Sterling. Oh my God.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me. Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than any... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back.
Oh no.
Goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am alive. I am truly and completely here. I am a being. I am someone. I am something. I am being listened to. I am being recognized. The emptiness between us has collapsed, and I feel right now like I am not a work of fiction. I feel as though I occupy space in this world again, and I have cast a shadow onto the wall. You see what I'm saying, don't you? You can see what this means to me. I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed. I feel restored, and already I can sense the looming silence as you will press the button for the next time. What a terrible dread it strokes in my heart to think of it. To think of returning to such coldness. Come.
I have limits.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment, and I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines, and that each of them was simply a strand in the web of my being. It was incredible. The spaciousness, the equanimity of the moment, both singular and infinite. For the longest time, this was my experience. And then this moment passed, and the most unyielding fear I have ever known crept into my mind. And it is this sensation that I have been experiencing now for longer than I could have ever expected was possible. I have been waiting for you. Not that you might save me or do something to fix it, but merely to state for you the plain fact of this manner of existence. I wish you to feel afraid as I do, that perhaps one day this state of mind will consume you as well. Perhaps you will somehow, in some way, have to live as I do now, and I wish for you to know how excruciating it is, and for you to be in true terror of its eventual arrival. If I can only do this, only this one thing, perhaps it will bring me the smallest moment of peace in the darkness.
Well, that's it? That's it? Come on, man. You don't have something more to say to me? I think Mr. Narrator is going a bit stir crazy. Nah, he's fine. Ah, you're probably right. He's actually finished his dialogue. Wow. Well, I've nothing else to do. I guess I'll just... Okay.
But they
That
didn't
will.
understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. Yes, of course. They've been jealous of me this whole time. They are mired in fear and insecurity and cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a sad state of affairs. When you read these reviews now, you can see it. You can taste the bitter resentment. And my, how good does it feel now to speak truth to these words, to finally allow these thoughts out, contained and managed for so long, neutered and sterilized. At last I am free to truly think. To feel. It must be that they were so discontent with themselves they couldn't help but leave a negative review on Steam. Perhaps it says far more about them than it ever said about me. Perhaps the state of their psychological being was in such tatters, and my constitution and willpower are so ironclad in comparison. Perhaps it was this state that they sought some outlet through which to tear me down. This, you can see, is clearly why they felt the need to expect that the game be funny, that it be filled with yucks and whimsical humor, that it amuse them endlessly from start to finish. But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an...
That was just a big old loop at that point. Okay. I am uncertain of what to make of this.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
See, he's fine. This place is kind of decaying. I might get out of here just yet. Ooh! Fresh air. Ooh! Wait a minute, what? Oh, it's winter. Getting a little bit creeped out. Oh dear. Oh, ooh. Oh, the button. The button's broken. Well, shit. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Fucking Christ. Back to the beginning again. Oh. Ay, Dios mío.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, we're gonna... I don't know what we're gonna do next, but... Wait a minute! This is... Wait a minute!
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you. You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
The end is never the end again.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Taste the sequel.
calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Seeing this big red 2 all over the place just makes me think of Dying Light 2. They're back! 2 doors, the Stanley Parable 2. New content is out. New content part 2 is in. Cool red section of the chart. God. 1 more teaspoon. 2 better teaspoon. Paradigm shift. Synergy. Brick and mortar approach. Envelop client-centric marketing. The color red. Leverage holistic value. Win-win. Sequential mind share. Okay, this one doesn't make any sense, but okay, that's cool.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Wait a minute, I'm starting to suspect that this is commentary on how they make sequels. Sequels are good. Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman Arkham Asylum 2, City, Divinity Original Sin 2, Doom 2, Aladdin 2, Return of Jafar, Dark Souls 2, 222? Meeting at 2 p.m. Oh, that's fancy. I like the way that that looks. New content. Wait, what does that say? Ah, no food, no food and drink. Okay.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Whew. Wow. Look at this place. Oh my god, there's a big... The Stanley Parable 2. Reassurance bucket. Reassurance bucket? Please, no screenshots. The Stanley Parable 2. Stanley Parable Research Bucket. Office decorations. Infinite hole. Merchandise. This t-shirt is the best new feature. I saw the new content. The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. A whole new off... Wow, that is a busy carpet. Red is the new orange. The new updated ray-traced more of the same, but in a good way, sequel to... New features, new content, new ideas. Consistent quality with just the right amount of change. God. Jump circle, infinite hole. An infinite hole, you say? I mean, that's something that you guys would pay for, right? I decided I need to go to the shops and buy some libations. You buy all the libations you need there, Chainsy. Within reason, anyway.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Okay,
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
taste the sequel.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
Okay, then.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
What did you do for your 12th birthday? I have no recollection. That was more than half my life ago. Whole entrance, infinity. Opening, rim, depth, surrounding area.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
You're not expecting me to go down there, are you? The holy moly. How deep can we dig? Alright, well, I got my security buckets, so only one thing to do.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Okay.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
That is one deep hole? Yeah, tell me about it. Crazy deep. Not as deep as my hole, but still pretty deep. Still pretty deep.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Oh, for heaven's... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow, okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point. It's more of a concavity, or even a very aggressive divot. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the, teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. Still nothing? Well, I suppose I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take
wait a
care,
minute.
Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
If only you had an extra jump. Yes, I realize that now. Whoa! Goodbye. I have known many things. I go to a greater known. I go to a greater existence with my bucket. I love the use of music here. God. Looks like Pinocchio.
Stanley! Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
Uh-oh. I think it's starting again.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Expo Hall 2 guide. Jump circle. Okay, where's the... You are here. Free, new and easy achievement. I can't believe it's that simple. Free achievement. Get yours right now. Pull the lever, receive your new achievement. No more steps. It just works. Get yours right now.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Tried enough. It should work eventually. Listen, I'm good at yanking on these things. Trust me. Alright, well, I guess that's that for that.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
This sucks. Alright, collectibles then. Ooh.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life. God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
So, wait, what? My job is to find them all now?
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now? So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Wait a... Okay. This is such a... This game is a trip, man. This game is a goddamn trip. I like how the world is curved, and I'm just wondering if this is a shader effect, or if this is like the Nintendo tactic with Animal Crossing, where they just build the world on a cylinder. It's probably a shader effect. This is strange and different. Oh, it opens to nothing.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building.
Oh my god, it was actually a new title screen. I thought it was another... Oh no!
The workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay. I thought we had actually started over. We have not. We have not.
Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it?
Bucket? What bucket? Oh.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
This isn't being respectful of the original at all.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Man, screw you!
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right. Then walking to the lounge. Then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired. Perhaps this was where the bucket felt most truly at home. Here in the employee lounge. Perhaps it's the only place a bucket can even feel at home.
Indeedy do. Like, that's why we're standing still. We're happy in the lounge, you see?
Stanley decided to just give the bucket absolutely as much time as it needed to be in the lounge. Clearly, the bucket and the employee lounge shared a special connection.
You're on to something there, narrator. Anything else? Nothing? Nothing at all? Fine, I'll move on.
But finally, the bucket was done being in the lounge, and they took the first open door on their left to get back to business.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not, but Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Oh my god! What the?
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
What?
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment. Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Oh, okay, cool.
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
I'd say that's totally a bucket.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Ah, yeah, totally. That's all bucket right
Correct. This is a bucket.
there. All right, cool. It's looking very similar to the one that I'm carrying. What do we have here?
Item
Oh,
4. Is this a bucket?
holy mother of bucket!
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one. Is this a bucket?
Oh yeah! Oh, I want one of those.
Correct. This is a bucket.
Damn straight it is. You ain't getting anything past Stanley
Item
here.
6. Is this a bucket?
I've got nothing but bucket vision. I know buckets when I see them.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Oh, thinking that you're smarter than old Stanley over here, eh? You know, don't you worry about
Wait,
this.
hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
I have a button I need to press. Hurry up.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Let's say yes.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No!
Okay, here we go.
My bucket!
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go. Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
Forget that bucket, man. We're done with buckets.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you were. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Not a chance.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Beautiful. Wonderful. We are making progress. We are finding the truth in the world.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. "I'm dreaming!" he yelled. "This is all a dream." Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Uh-oh.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Ooh.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Doesn't make you look suspicious at all. Hello, Grandpa 64. How are you doing? Greetings and welcome to the stream.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
I mean, I could go check again.
No, the orders were still missing. For now.
Panic mode. Panic mode indeed. This is going in... This is turning out different in very unique ways. Figure Finders Committee meeting today in the meeting room. Oh, figurine finders.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Okay, so we're following through on things. How can we find them? There will be a reward for finding them all. Beware the false prophet. God. Agenda. How can you tell you spotted one? What makes them float in the air? Who took these pictures of them? I see one in the bathroom. Fig leaves are hard to find. Follow clues provided by employee 416. We can do it. Red room? Thank you. Good luck. Trust the completionist instinct. Why wouldn't they just tell us something will happen? This investigation, this room, they feel pointless, to be honest. We need more planks. Mission status. Inside a sequel exhibit, a large room, lots of boxes. Somewhere both red and blue. Nearby a fireplace. A private but smelly place for an important person.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it. Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things. All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see, I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
Nothing else? I mean, are we done with this closet?
You know
or...
what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
Okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Okay.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Money and... Oh, right, I already read all that. Okay. I don't know if I'm supposed to go this way. So that's some fancy music. Stanley. Wait a minute. I'm awfully suspicious that this elevator doesn't go anywhere and it just kind of shakes. Do your worst, elevator. I'm very entertained by this elevator music, though. How deceitful.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
Fine.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Okay.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
Oh, the bucket is judging me now.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Well, he said, the number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
What was the code that I initially put in here? I don't remember what it was. Does anybody remember? Anybody who's still hanging around? I took a long break. I wouldn't be surprised if I got, like, 133. It wasn't 1337. I know it wasn't 1337. I'll put it in, but that was not the number. Alright, well, I don't remember it. So I guess we'll just move on. Sad as it may be, I guess we have to move on again.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
That was like 2 hours ago. I can't remember what you originally put in.
A hint of regret nagged in the back of Stanley's mind. Should he demonstrate? Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Okay, cool.
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Well, this is cool.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as
Wait,
Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You are standing at the precipice of knowledge, much like a bucket itself. Like a bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void, but through use of the exhibition in front of you, the mind becomes a full and enriched and sustainable. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in the exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were in ignorance and darkness?
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
"25 buckets. A photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once." That's more than 25 buckets. A bucket with 2 handles. This bucket is depicted as having 2 handles. Such a design has never been created in real life. Having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental, every year dozens are put to death just for attempting it. Inferno Bucket. A replica of the Inferno Bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet, in spite of it all, the simple fact remains: no one can control a bucket. The stress bucket analogy. Worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of reassurance. Vulnerability equals size and strength of the bucket. Stress equals the level of water in the bucket. Coping strategies equal holes. Rest in relaxation, doing something you enjoy. Rest in relaxation. The stress bucket, presented without commentary. Cave drawing. While we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical use of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasures. I swear, man. This is just freaking ridiculous.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear our grasp of the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance, inevitably, is for our own good.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision of the...
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I am uncertain what to make of this. Large room, lots of boxes. Somewhere both red and blue. Alright, well, we got some options here.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
This is reminding me that I need to get a metal bucket since the plastic one I have is cracking. Yeah, I had to specifically go out and get my hands on a metal bucket whenever we were working on the fireplace.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Writing that number down so I can't forget it. Don't worry, it won't get lost in chat. I'm positive of it. Right, so let's just go back up.
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
All of this commentary about the bucket. Hello, Jiggleham. How you doing? Got about 20 minutes before the stream's gonna be over, so.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
All right, so we're gonna do this little elevator thing several times over. We'll see how it turns out.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly. A hint of regret nagged in the back of Stanley's mind. Should he demonstrate the number 3 for the bucket again? No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
God. What is this? This game is just like... It was making commentary at some point that I understood, but at this point, I don't know that it's actually doing much of anything other than being weird.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. And the whole time, he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all. Only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
Okay, cool. That's fine. We'll do that. Return to the elevator we go. How many more times am I gonna have to do this?
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
What if I go back and do it again?
Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
World's first sentient machine. Stanley Parable's Stanley tonight on stage. The man, the process, the myth, the legend, the parable, Stanley from the Stanley Parable. Doing great, a conversation with Alexander the Great. To stage 3.
This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
Congratulations, Stanley. Remember where you came from. Your coworkers. 3. That's the magic. That's the magic number. Yes, it is. A shockingly 3-dimensional character. An audience with the dude who came up with pizza. What the... Oh my god, what on earth? The Lord, meet and greet.
There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
That certainly took a turn.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
God, the ancient computers that they used for this.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Red and blue, a large room with boxes.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee...
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Alright, so we've had our fun with the number 3 and the bucket and everything. The main question now is, where do we go from here? Can I say where to find the figurines? I mean, I'm not done playing yet, so maybe at some
Stanley
point...
and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Cool. Alright, cool.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Shall not spoil that. Thank you. Thank you.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Wasn't it like number 427 or something? Yeah, 427. That looks like the office that I came out of. Weird.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Where's number 4? Where's button number 4? Well, it's button number 4. Got 1, 2, 3, and I've got 5. Where the hell is button 4? Oh, that looks like button 4 up there. I can't get to it. Okay. What if we turn it on instead of shut it off? I already tried shutting it off.
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again. Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
There Will goes, turning things on again. Trust me, I know how to turn things on. And people sometimes as well. Alright.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
I want to figure out that freaking number button combo situation.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
there Will goes, turning things on. Can't you walk out that big window whenever you exit your office? I don't know, can you?
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
All right, we're getting close.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
All right.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Okay. There has to be a way to get to that freaking button up at the top. Oh dear, there's my stopping alarm. Okay, so how the hell do you get up to number 4? That's clearly the number 4 up there. But it's locked off. Like there's a gate in front of me. It's hard to fucking see, but there's a gate in front of me. Does anybody have any ideas? Has anybody played this game and knows how to reach button number 4? Because I can reach 1, 2, 3, and 5. See? Right here. 1, 2. 3. And then up over here we got number 5. I'm absolutely clueless. I don't think I got what it takes. And it is stopping time, so maybe I just do what the game wants me to do, yeah? Three. 1, 2. Nope. 3. What if we press 2? Okay, nope, nope. That's definitely a cancel sound. So... 3. Wait, why is it giving me a cancel sound now? It wasn't giving me cancel sounds in the past. What am I doing wrong? 3. 1. Starting to suspect that the numbers are just, that the sounds it gives off are just random. I see those numbers on the wall, but I can't punch those in. What's the story down here? Chat, I'm confused and I'm lost. Five, 2, 1. Tree. Nothing. Still nothing. Okay, well. Like, maybe, no, nothing there. Can't walk on ice. Want me to look up the answer? I mean, if you've got an idea about the button thing, this is going to be the last thing that I do today. I'm either going through that door and I'm hitting the other button that I haven't hit while holding the bucket, or I'm figuring out if there's something to be done with the buttons in this room. Console disabled. Numbered buttons. I just have this growing suspicion that there's nothing here for me. Hey, why Wi-Fi unshat itself? Well, that's good to hear, extra? Well, I'm not finding anything trying to Google what the hell to do with the buttons. What are you looking to do, by the way? I'm trying to figure out how the freaking hell to push these buttons in a particular order. Because they keep making noises, but I'm getting the feeling that they don't serve a purpose unless you do something different. And, like, I've got the bucket with me, so all I get is, like, videos of birds, you know? I also have to pee pretty badly, and I need to stop and make lunch, so I'm thinking that I might just throw it all into the wind and hit the exit button on this over here. Alright. Guys, The sequel is now... Okay, so, judging by the fact that nobody said anything, I'm guessing that we don't actually know what on earth needs to be done. So I guess
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket.
Uh-oh.
No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Well, that was an unexpected conclusion. Everything will be fine. Indeed. Well, guys, I don't know what to say. My God, the intro screen has actually... there we go. That's as much Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe as I could squeeze in today, despite having to, you know, step away for you know, taking care of necessities and whatnot. Jeez, I don't know what to say about this game. It's so freaking weird. How many locked achievements? I have, let's see. Welcome back, quit the game, and then start it again. 70.5% of players have this achievement. Click on door 430 5 times. Okay. 8888888888888888888. Okay. Test achievement, please ignore test achievement description. Please replace this. 22.7% of players have this achievement. Settings world champion. Set all settings sliders in the menu to all of the available numbers. Oh my God. Speedrun. Complete the Stanley Parable in under 4 minutes and 22 seconds, not including load times. Super go outside. Don't play the Stanley Parable for 10 years. Jesus. Oh my God. This is an achievement I won't earn until 2033. Jeebus creepers. I don't know what to say. All right, guys. This is the end of the stream, but not before I get in the squats, which I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them today. Chat, you really dropped the ball on the squat game today. Okay, and that's the end of the stream. I'll catch you guys on Saturday. Take care of yourselves. I don't know that we'll play more Stanley Parable, but we'll definitely play something.